Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's panel, Solar Energy, the sun-powered superstars lighting up our future. As we stand at the crossroads of an energy revolution, solar energy has emerged as a beacon of hope. As noted in research by Ali OM in 2022, solar energy is an environmentally friendly technology, a great energy supply, and one of the most significant renewable and green energy sources. It plays a critical role in our global shift toward sustainable development by providing clean energy while simultaneously creating job opportunities. Today, we are joined by three distinguished experts to explore how this technology fits into the Malaysian context. First, we have Mr. Iqbal, an environmental activist who has studied grassroots awareness. Second, Ms. Chen, a policy advisor focusing on the regulatory landscape. Finally, Mr. Shan, a regional geographer specializing in the technical and environmental intersection of solar development. Mr. Iqbal, the floor is yours to discuss the current state of environmental awareness in our society.
Okay, so thank you, Adli, for giving me space and opportunity for me to explain my point argument. So my focus lately has been on the state of Sabah, where we have seen a fascinating trend. Suryansa as in 2021 states that the residents in Sabah possess high level of environmental awareness. There is a significant positive relationship between this awareness and the consumption of green products, particularly in urban centers like Kota Kinabalu and some other region that have a big city. People are increasingly aware of the need to preserve our tropical rainforests and are looking towards the benefit of green consumption for future generation. This suggests that the human foundation for a sustainable energy transition is already being built through everyday environmental consciousness.
Thank you, Mr. Iqbal. It's heartening to hear that awareness is high. However, why are you so sure that this small case specific to Sabah and consumer products can be implemented on a larger scale, like national solar energy?
So it's quite simple. As we can look from the data from the study by Suryansa S in 2021, it was state that a high level of green products consumption may suggest that people in Sabah start to adapt with no plastic bag consumption. They use it. They use the campaign in supermarkets to buy organic ingredients and support goods from natural materials such as rattan bags. By looking at how Sabans replace plastic bags with local handicrafts, we can see a fundamental shift between, we can see a fundamental shift in behavior. If a population can adapt their daily habits in environment, this this same cultural momentum can be channeled into larger transition, such as adopting sustainable energy sources. Thank you.
An excellent point on the power of behavioral trends. Transitioning from the mindset of the individual to the framework of the nation, we must look at why this awareness hasn't yet led to mass adoption. Ms. Chen, could you enlighten us on the policy side of this equation?
Certainly, while Malaysia has abundant solar resource, we are far from our goal of 20% renewable energy penetration by 2025. Currently, only about 2% of our electricity comes from renewable source, including solar. Based on LMCE Law 2022, it shows that the low option rate in the residential sector is rooted in significant policy flaws. Historically, policy like net energy metering (NEM) and earlier feed-in tariffs have been more successful in the industrial sector. Leaving the residential sector largely, we must shift our focus to remove the barriers facing Malaysian households.
Thank you, Ms. Chen. To dig deeper into that, I have two questions for you. The first one is, what specific policy tweaks can boost Malaysia's residential solar adoption and raise its 2% electricity generation share? The second question is, what extra data or research would strengthen the case for optimizing these policies?
My first answer is key policy tweaks must include improving financial incentives, such as providing tax rebate and low interest loans, especially for households rather than just corporations. We also need to clear up public misinformation and simplify the proving producers for industrial. And my second answer is regarding data. We need move cross-country policy adoption comparison to see what works elsewhere. State-level solar industrial feasibility data to target high potential areas, and more case studies highlighting the direct carbon reducing feasibility of the residential solar to convince the public. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Chen. It's clear that policy must pave the way for technology. Speaking of technology, our final presenter, Mr. Shan, will discuss the physical and regional challenges of making these panels work in our unique climate.
Thank you, Adley. Based on Hosumi ETAL 2022, it is noticed that Malaysia and Iran were situated north of equator and show very high temperatures and a raining environment. This condition means that we receive high temperature, high solar radiation. Our tropical climate persists persistent challenge. While our manufacturing sector for solar cell is strong with major hub in Penang and Malacca, the performance of these modules in the field face persistent challenge. The tropical climates can hinder efficiency, as standard solar material are often tested in cooler temperate conditions.
That leads me to my next question. What specific technical improvements are most needed to make solar panels work better in Malaysia's climate?
Heat resistance and humidity tolerance are most important. We need solar cells material that lose less efficiency at high temperature, and better sealing to prevent moisture damage from our heavy rainfall. Yet gladly, institutions like University Malaya are always testing new protective coating and panels to address these significantly region stressors.
Thank you, Mr. Shan, for the valuable insights. We now enter round two of the panel discussion. We've heard about the high awareness in Sabah, the policy barriers in our residential sector, and the technical hurdles of our tropical climate. Let's open the floor for a brief discussion.
Okay, so can you guys hear my voice right now?
Yes.
Okay, after we discussed what about the points that we shared, we can see that there is a point about high awareness, the policy barriers, and also the technical hurdles of the tropical climate. And now I want to I want to build about Miss Chen's point about neglect. In my study, so based on Suryansah S in 2021, even though general awareness is high, there is still low percentage awareness regarding the impact of overusing natural resources in daily life. That means people do aware about the situation, but the low awareness regarding the impact of overusing natural resource means that they didn't implement it on the real life. If the government doesn't make the solar the obvious choice through policy, the average citizen won't feel the urgency to switch, despite their general love for the environment.
I agree, Mr. Hickable. Experts I interviewed noted that the low electricity price due to subsidized fossil fuel traffic is a major deterrent. People are economically rational. If subsidized grant power is cheap, the high upfront cost of solar, which can be 45,000 regent for a small terrace house, is hard to justify without the tax rebates I mentioned earlier.
That economic barriers is actually linked to geography. I study, for example, in Paris, solar radiance is high but fluctuates significantly, reaching its lowest in June. If at that time a household invests 45,000 ringgit, but efficiency drops during the rain season or due to high heat, the payback periods Mrs. Chen experts mentions becomes even longer, making the policy incentive even more critical.
This is why we need to move beyond just Kota Kinabalu or Kuala Lumpur. We need to touch for the rural areas. My research showed that the grid effect is most pronounced in urban centers. However, as Mr. Shah knows, rural areas in Sabah and Sarawak could benefit the most from solar since they didn't get the main electricity from the big cities. If we can use the Sabah model of adapting to new green habits, I do believe that we can bring solar to remote areas which the grid doesn't even reach so that they can have their own electricity by the solar, not relying on the big cities.
Exactly, and the comprehensive legislation I proposed isn't just for urbanities. We need to do projects and the rights of all sonar consumers. Currently, many people don't install sonar simply because they don't know about it or don't trust the providers. We need the legislators' fair work that manages sonar companies and ensure every Malaysian's rural or urban gets a fair deal.
To support that, we should look at existing pilot projects. For instance, the project Rays of Hope successfully provided microgrid solar to Oregon ethnic communities in Prick and Selangor. These small-scale systems, which around 6 watt to 10,000 watt, 10 kilowatts, prove that we don't always need massive land-consuming solar farm. We can integrate solar into existing geographical footprint of our communities.
And now to finalize my thoughts, I do believe that all do comes down to education. This one, Suryansa S in 2021 suggests that youngsters must continuously spread the benefits of green consumption. So if we can integrate solar education into the school curriculum, as with the older one, we need to teach the younger about the green consumption. I mean, we can implement the same thing. I mean, what I mean is we can implement the benefits of solar system just like what do the younger have in Sabah? So I can see that, so we can see that a generation will be built not to see solar as a luxury thing, but as an essential standard way of life, much like Ratan bags in Sabah, but instead it is a solar system.
I couldn't agree more. My final recommendation is that the government must work closer with both traditional and social media to advertise the benefits. We need to show that shifting to solar isn't just a policy goal for 2025. It's a way to safeguard our health and equality as part to the global climate movement.
Technically and geographically, the potential is here. If we implement the often fixed state angle for our 15 major cities to maximum efficiency despite the heat, and parts that with financial support, Mr. Chen advocates, Malaysia can truly become a solar leader in Southeast Asia. The sun power superstars are ready. We just need the framework to let them shine.
This has been a fascinating exchange. To conclude, it is clear that for solar energy to truly light up our future, we must harmonize public awareness, policy incentives, and the technical adaptation to our tropical climate. As we've discussed, the massive amount of solar energy attainable daily makes it a very attractive resource for generating electricity, but only if we build the right systems to capture it. Thank you, Mr. Higbal, Ms. Chan, and Mr. Shan, for your invaluable insights today. And thank you to our audience for joining this vital conversation. Have a good day.